morning everyone, it's Carol here at Teacup Journals, and I'm going to do my assignment for Margarete Miller's collage challenge today. And I've got my prompts here and my prompt pieces underneath. I love doing these challenges, as you know, or these collage assignments, as you know. But every week when I tackle them, I learn something new, and not least this week. And if I go through the prompts, you'll see why. So the first one is something that glows in the dark or appears to. Well, at first I thought I would go with an insect. I'd go with a firefly because I know that they glow in the dark. But during the course of my searches for a firefly image, I came across these. Now these are lunar moths. If I'd seen these, I would have said that they were butterflies, but apparently not. They are lunar moths. And lunar moths, they don't actually glow in the dark. Lunar moths are not like fireflies that glow in the dark because of their bioluminescence. Lunar moths appear to glow in the dark, and that's why they hit this prompt, because they have reflective scales on their wings that refract the light and create a luminous effect, and also because of their colour. Now, depending on where they come from, and apparently these can come from China or Japan or Africa, they may well come from somewhere else, but I've certainly never seen them here in the UK. So depending on where they come from will, I believe, depend on their colour. So as you can see, I've printed out several images here. Whilst I like this little one, I think it's too pale, and I think these three here are going to be too small. So it's either going to be this one or this one. Maybe this one, but I think the angle of it might not be quite right. The second prompt is a soft texture. So I've got this piece of fabric here. It's obviously part of a sleeve, but it's got a texture to it. Can you see a slightly raised texture? It is lovely and soft with it being a synthetic fabric. So I might use that. I think it might be a little bit too raised or too textured for what I want, but I have got it to play with if I need to. But I've also got this lovely piece of fabric here, and this was a piece of netting or a sample for netting fabric, and I particularly like it because, can you see, it's got this lovely frayed edge there, and this edge here is frayed as well. It's got a slight texture to it, and it is very fine, really nice, but it's lovely and soft, so I could use that. And I like the colorway on this, but I particularly like this piece of fabric here, and it's very, very drapable. And look at that, it's lovely and open in terms of the weave, and I think that would be very pretty. The only reason I might not use this is because I don't think I'm going to get a frayed edge, which might make me hesitate using this, but again, we'll see. So I've got these three options for prompt number 2. The third prompt is a page with a water stain or a smudge. Well, I've got this piece here. It is water stained, but I don't think you can hardly make out that it is water stained. If I put this with it, maybe, just maybe, you can make out that this one has got some slight staining. Well, a lot of staining in here, but it's hardly noticeable at all. There's more depth of colour up there and there. And this is a brand new page, so I was hoping that you might be able to see the difference. As you can see, it's 2 pages, so I'm going to use just the one. An image of a vintage sign or poster. Now this is actually a ticket from, as you can see, the Riks Museum in Amsterdam. Now the reason I'm going with this is that even though it was the ticket, when I was there, this was a massive poster outside the museum, and it is vintage because I was there many, many moons ago. So I'm going to use that, and it works perfectly with my colour theme today. The penultimate prompt is a teacup or coffee mug. Well, I've got this Priscilla Jones brochure. She's a UK artist, and right here on the first page I've got this cup and saucer that she's created out of wire and paper. So I'm going to be using that, and I am going to fussy cut that out in a second, but look at some of the other pieces that she's created. Just really gorgeous. Actually saw this one in real life. It's lovely. The blues or the aquatones on this, it's just amazing. Such a clever artist, this lady. There we go. So as I say, I'm going to be using that, and I'm going to cut it out. And finally, the bonus is lace, real paper or otherwise. Well, I've got some paper lace here, and I'm going to be using that. I did wonder about using this image in here, if I can find it. This is a lovely little book that I've cut images out of before now. Where are we? Yeah, I was wondering whether to use that image there for the prompt, a soft texture, because obviously if you feel a bird, their feathers are incredibly soft. But the prompt was not something with a soft texture, aka a bird or the chicks. It was a soft texture, which made me go with the laces or those fabrics rather than this. But I still may be tempted to use that on my piece today. Don't know, but we'll see. So I'm just giving you a heads up on that. So as always, I'm going to put my prompts ahead of me here. I'm going to go away now, and once I've organised myself, I'm going to go away now and do some fussy cutting. So I'm going to cut out my cup and saucer, and I'm going to fussy cut these 3 images ready to audition in due course. So I'll be back when that's done. So I've got my cup and saucer cut out, a little bit more of a challenge than I thought. The colour here is lovely, which is the saucer, but these portions here around the handle were stark white, so I had to go in and try and fussy cut those out. So that's my cup and saucer. I've also cut out these. The other one that was the side-on orientation I've dispensed with, just wasn't right. I thought it might be to perch on the side of the cup there, but I didn't like it. This one I like because it's got hints of pink that's picking up pink on the cup and saucer. It doesn't feel bright enough though to stand out and give me the pop of colour that I wanted, whereas that's why I went with the blue one as well. But whilst that gives me my pop of colour, the image is not sharp enough. Whether I can find a better image, I don't know, but I think that gives me a better pop of colour on there, which is what I wanted, than this one. But I do like that that's sharper. Whether I can cover it over with some glossy accents, possibly. If I put it on there, you really lose it against the cup and saucer. That one stands out again, as I say, because of the colour. So I'm going to park it for the moment. So obviously, because this is the size it is, it has to be slap bang in the middle, because it'll be over the edge here if I put it anywhere else. I'm going to use this as my background piece, so I'm just looking for a better piece. I'm going to leave the edges rough because this is not a smooth edge, it's quite rough edge. So I'm just going to rip it. I'm going to go with this piece, and I'm going to pop it over to the left-hand border because it's got quite a big edge to it. Oh, that might be too much. Don't want it quite that close over to the writing, so I'm going to just alter that a little bit. Maybe something like that. And again, I'll rough tear that edge, leaving that white border, chopping away some of the top there. What about bringing this in? I love this because of the colour tones which pick up my cup and saucer. Not so much liking this beigey colour, but it picks up the splodges on here. So I was kind of thinking something like that. Bringing my cup and saucer, leaves me this down here, which is where I thought this could come in, my paper lace. For something like that, to soften that, and then just cut it above the word preface up there. So I'm going to cut it down there and down there. I'm going to just rip away this edge. And similarly up here. This across the bottom again, about like that. Okay, well I'm definitely going to have the paper lace across the bottom, so I'm going to glue that in place. just going to pull that up from that bottom line down there. Bring my cup in again, maybe angle it a little bit more so that I get that detail on her headdress, just picking up that corner on the cup. I think that looks quite nice. I am over my working edge here, but as I'm always saying, it's just a guide for me. I'm not bothered. I could pull it over some more. Okay, let's look at these. Just going to hold that. In fact, I'm going to put a paper clip on this to hold my book page to that. I'm just going to pop that little bit in there. Tuck it under my page a little bit just to get rid of some of the excess. See what my cup looks like on there. And that works actually. It's picking up the right colour tones. I like that frayed edge detail there. Was hoping to get a bit more of that so I could flip it round and have that frayed edge detail coming down the side here. And then maybe that on there like that. Maybe higher up so that it stands out a little bit more, gets rid of some of that blank up there. So audition the blue one. Actually, I'm liking that green better now. Okay, I'm dispensing with that one, decision made. I'm going to have that one. Just wondering whether I could cut that out and maybe double layer my moths, or maybe even have another one down here somewhere. That's an idea. Okay, so I'm going to fussy cut this one out. I'm going to forget that piece of fabric because I think it's too bright in terms of colour. It's a white, whereas this is all sort of off-white or cream. This is as well, but I think because it's open weave I might get away with it, so I just want to audition it in here to see if I like it. Right, it does rip, but not well. Not really going to get much idea, so let's maybe put that there, bring that in. Oh, this is going to be difficult. I like it because it's delicate and it's open weave, but I'm thinking that might actually work better. But what I am going to do is I'm going to just cut myself a small portion of this fabric to see if I can get a better idea. So I've got that look. I just move this card up a little bit more to close down or reduce the height of the whole collage, which I thought made it sit a little bit better, and it gave me less of this height up here. Love this, but I'm not sure whether this one is better, so I'm going to put a portion of this behind here and see again whether I like it better. I've auditioned both these pieces of fabric and I have to say it's a very close run thing. I can't really say I've got a preference between the two. I like the fact that this is open weave, which seems to sit well with the sort of filigree nature of this cup, but it is quite bright in terms of white. This is almost an off-white. This sits well because it blends in almost with the colour tones, which helps my moth stand out, I think, and also it looks a bit shabby with all the frayed edges. So I think, well no, I don't think, I know, I'm going to go with this. So I'm going to put this in behind again, like that. The other thing I like about this piece is that it softens this edge with it being frayed, whereas this one doesn't particularly. This I'm going to have on the edge of the cup like that, just to try and use up a bit of that space up there. I'm not too bothered about that side because I've got detail with the writing, but this side. So I'm going to glue these pieces in place. I'm going to rub out my guidelines on my background paper and glue this in place onto my background, and then I'm going to faff with the lunar moth. This is all glued down now, and I have to say I'm really pleased with it. The only thing I wish I'd done was do some stitching on it, because obviously now there's some fabric on it, what I want to do is stitch, machine stitch or embroider or otherwise. Anyway, I fussy cut this other lunar moth and I popped it there with this one on top, and I like how that looks, but I was wondering whether it might look better in terms of composition having this down here, because this doesn't feel really connected to that, even though the cup and saucer and spoon are over the top of this. So I was wondering whether or not to just kind of put another one of these little moths down here, and I think I will. The colour of this moth is just perfect because there's a little hint of green on here and on her shoulder drape, and also this little guy down there. My only reservation about this one is I cut the antenna off, so I might need to find something to do for that. But yeah, I'm going to just go with that, everybody. So I'm going to glue this one in place. I'm not going to layer it up, I'm just going to go with it as is. As I mentioned before, just to break up that corner a little bit and just lift the wings a little bit, just to try and give it some dimension. Ideally it should be double printed, that one, and this one as well, if I'm going to do that. I want it more at an angle really, how I had it before, but I can't remember how I had it before. Maybe something like that. I have to find something I can use for his antennae. Right, I've got an idea what I can use for the antennae, so just bear with me a second. Got some old clock parts here, and I think I might have a couple of the little arms tucked away in here somewhere. Just want some very delicate ones. There we go, that's one. That one's a little bit big. Let's see if I can find another one that's slightly smaller. Just going to ease up his head a little bit, put a bit of glue underneath, like that. And pop these underneath. There we go, something like that. That will do. And then same with these, so I'm going to snip these off. Sorry, Mr. Moth. And do the same. So lift him up slightly. Dab a glue underneath. So there we go, everybody, a bit of poetic license with my lunar moths, but yeah, I'm quite pleased with that one. I like the different textures on it, and I like the little bit of movement in terms of wings and tails. You know me, I like that sort of thing. I love the rough edges here, and I just wish I'd made that a little bit more jagged up there. Yeah, maybe if I'd rough torn the edges on either side here, that would have looked better, but it is what it is. So I'm just going to push that off my work desk so that you think it's all pristine, bring in my prompts and quickly go through those. So something that glows in the dark or appears to, well, lunar moths appear to glow in the dark. I now know that, so thank you, Margarete. A soft texture, I went for this little piece of fabric down the side here. It's actually netting fabric for curtains, so I went with that little piece. A page with a water stain or a smudge, so that's my book page at the back there. An image of a vintage sign or poster, well, that was my poster that was outside the museum in Amsterdam many moons ago. A teacup or a coffee mug, well, I went with a teacup, a saucer and its spoon, and bonus was lace, real paper or otherwise. I went with my roll of paper lace down there. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. As always, close-ups at the end for you to have a look at, and I'll see you next week. So until then, take care. Bye-bye now.